My husband expelled me from our home because I extended an invitation to his mother. After 6 years of marriage, my husband and I have shared countless joyful moments. He's always been the life of the party, bringing laughter and positivity into our lives. However, one aspect of our relationship has always troubled me: his distant relationship with his family, particularly his mother. His father's early demise left him with little connection to his remaining family members. 4 months ago, I took it upon myself to search for his mother on social media and reached out to her. Surprisingly, she responded, and we quickly formed a bond. She disclosed that she had been keeping tabs on her son through social media and was aware of our life together. As our friendship blossomed, I shared with her the details of our lives, including my concerns about their estrangement. Despite her reluctance, I proposed the idea of reconciling with her son, and she tentatively agreed. Over the following weeks, I attempted to broach the subject with my husband, but he either changed the topic or shut down the conversation entirely. Despite the lack of progress, I assured his mother that I was working on it. Last week, I decided to take matters into my own hands and arranged for my mother-in-law to visit us unexpectedly, hoping to facilitate a reunion. Although she expressed reservations, I was convinced that a surprise encounter would help soften my husband's heart. However, her apprehensions proved valid. Upon my husband's arrival home, he was taken aback and reacted with anger, ordering his mother to leave immediately. Despite my attempts to explain, he remained resolute, instructing me to leave as well. His demeanor was cold and detached, leaving me no choice but to seek refuge at my sister's. My attempts to reach out to both my husband and his mother have been met with silence and rejection. I now realize the gravity of my actions and the pain I have caused. I am desperate to apologize to my husband and uncover the root cause of his estrangement from his mother. Update 3 weeks later. In recent weeks, we've faced considerable challenges, but there's a glimmer of hope on the horizon. My husband opened up about the painful reason behind his estrangement from his mother, confirming suspicions of sexual abuse, though not from his mother, but from his stepfather. The abuse began when they were engaged, and his mother, pregnant with his child, failed to acknowledge his cries for help, accusing him of jealousy. The breaking point came when she unexpectedly caught the stepfather in the act, leading to legal action and the dissolution of their engagement. However, the damage to my husband's trust was irreversible, compounded by the loss of the baby due to stress, despite his mother never blaming him. Witnessing his trauma was heart-wrenching for me, especially knowing my actions further strained his trust. Although divorce was contemplated, my husband believes my actions stemmed from ignorance rather than malice and wishes to mend our relationship. I'm dedicated to becoming a more supportive and understanding partner, acknowledging my tendency to assert my opinions over his, which has caused immense pain. I refuse to be another source of hurt for him. Additionally, my husband has chosen to reconnect with his mother, seeking closure and potential reconciliation, despite uncertainties about repairing their relationship. Update 3 weeks later. My husband is doing better, and our relationship is slowly getting back to what it was. I know it will take a lot of time to repair the damage I caused, but I am willing to give him all the time he wants and do anything he asks out of me. The bitter irony of this whole story is that he told me he had been thinking about reaching out to his mother, but on his terms and time. By going behind his back, I almost destroyed that chance of reconciliation and imploded our marriage. I am working on myself and will start seeing a therapist next month so I never do something like that ever again, and more importantly, never betray his trust ever again. Also, with my husband's knowledge and consent, I apologized to MIL for leading her on with false promises, and she has forgiven me. As for him and Meal, they started talking to each other, have met a couple of times in public, and yesterday my husband invited her over for dinner so that, in his words, we all can try to start over properly. She's a very sweet woman, and she's eager to reconcile with him and get to know me. My husband said that for now he wants for all of us to get a bit used to each other. Then he and MIL will get to work on their traumas, his words. He says she's not the villain in what happened, but he needs to come to terms with her poor decisions and his own feelings of guilt for her losing her baby. Mile, on the other hand, is very apologetic and extremely sorry about what happened, in my husband's opinion, sincerely so, and doesn't blame him at all for the miscarriage. As for me, I just sit aside and do my best to rebuild the trust with my husband and become a better and safe partner. He started being affectionate with me again, and we are no longer on thin ice, but I can't stop thinking I almost lost him because I thought I knew better than him. Okay, next story. I unintentionally made my stepfather feel excluded at the wedding he generously paid for. I'm eager to find a way to make it right, but I'm unsure where to start. I marred the memory of what should have been the best day of my life due to my own blindness to the pain I was causing one of the most significant people in my life. 2 months ago, I married the love of my life, who finally opened my eyes to the perspective I had been missing. When I was 5, my father vanished from our lives, leaving my mom and me behind. Although they were already separated, his disappearance left a void. 3 years later, my mom began dating Rob, a man considerably younger than her. Over time, he became a vital figure in our lives, eventually marrying my mom and becoming a father figure to me, despite the initial awkwardness. In high school, after a breakup, Rob provided comfort and wise words, inadvertently solidifying his role as a father figure when I expressed the wish for him to be my dad. While I never officially called him dad, our bond grew stronger. Around a year ago, I reconnected with my biological father, spurred by my engagement. With the support of Rob and my mom, my biological father overcame his struggles with depression and substance abuse. They even facilitated our reunion, a moment filled with mixed emotions, but ultimately a healing experience. Rob and my mom generously funded my wedding, ensuring everything was perfect. However, amidst the joy, I made a grave mistake. I chose my biological father over Rob. In hindsight, it was a foolish decision. Rob, who had stood by me and treated me as his own, deserved to walk me down the aisle and be celebrated in photos alongside my mom and my husband's parents. My actions stemmed from a desire to compensate for lost time with my biological father, whose recent re-entry into my life felt significant. Yet I failed to recognize the years of love and support Rob had given me, making him the more deserving figure of honor on my special day. In the frenzy of wedding planning, we had to limit speeches, and in retrospect, I regret not prioritizing Rob's role in the celebration. When I handed the list to my husband, he raised the question, "No Rob?" I replied, "Yeah, my mom has that covered." The list included 2 of my bridesmaids, my mom, my sister, who insisted, and again my dad. My husband suggested reconsidering, offering to replace one of his choices with Rob. I declined, thinking Rob had my sister and my dad deserved this moment. But I went too far, practically excluding him from the party. It's evident in the photos. My mom's smile seems forced, and there isn't a single picture of just my dad and me. I only realized this when I texted Rob recently. He replied to some messages, but not others. Shortly after, my mom called, expressing her disappointment. Confused, I told my husband, who calmly explained the situation using the wedding photos as evidence. I broke down in tears, realizing my mistake. He revealed that Rob asked them not to intervene before the party, wanting me to focus on the day. Now, Rob needs time to process. My husband assures me Rob will forgive me, but I can't shake the guilt. I'm too ashamed to discuss it with anyone else. My husband urges me not to worry, but I can't help but feel I owe Rob an apology. It consumes my thoughts at work. I'm desperate for a way to make it right. If anyone has suggestions, I'd appreciate it. Edit. Approximately 40 minutes subsequent to my uploading of this content, I received a text message from my mother informing me that Rob intends to communicate with me later this evening. Relevant comments. OOP on the situation of her insurance and Rob. OOP, actually Rob isn't responsible for covering my insurance expenses. He simply assisted me in setting it up. Money isn't the issue here. I earn a substantial income and my husband is financially secure as well. Rob and my mother generously paid for our wedding out of their own desire to contribute. It was their heartfelt gift to us, and they provided the funds specifically for that purpose. Additionally, my husband's family contributed towards our new home. Your remark has made me realize that there may be a misunderstanding. He might mistakenly believe that I'm with him for financial gain, which deeply saddens me. I have no interest in his money whatsoever. I would willingly forfeit any inheritance from my mother and him, if he indeed included me in his will, as I suspect he did, if it means resolving this misunderstanding. Furthermore, it's important to note that my husband wasn't affluent when he met my mother. His success came after their marriage. Oop on why she didn't plan the wedding photos ahead of time. Oopie. I had initially envisioned a wedding day filled with spontaneous moments captured in pictures, but a last-minute change in photographers threw a wrench in my plans. In my mind, I had rationalized the schedule, aiming to prioritize the important shots early on, including those of the bridesmaids, groomsmen, and family, and leave the rest of the day for candid moments. I became fixated on the idea of not wanting to waste time on formalities like photos and speeches. In hindsight, I see how misguided that mindset was. Weddings are meant for those cherished traditions and moments. Despite everything going smoothly overall, my failure to recognize the importance of proper planning for photography stands out as a regrettable oversight. Update. Before I share anything further, there are a few points I need to clarify. 1. I'm not Linda, and my biological father isn't in a critical condition. I received a direct message here asking about it. 2. Regarding my sister, she's mainly feeling sad, not angry with me. She expressed understanding of my situation but was saddened to see her father feeling unappreciated and upset. 3. My mother is currently the most upset with me. Although she still communicates with me, it's not the same as before. 4. To those suggesting my husband and mother should have talked to me earlier, they acknowledge their mistake. My husband, in particular, agrees and has expressed it. I'm not trying to deflect blame. I'm mentioning this for those who brought it up. I didn't plan to post again due to the negativity, but I felt the need to address certain remarks. It's painful to hear comments like, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree" regarding me and my biological father, as it's a fear of mine. It's the reason I avoid drinking and any addictive substances. Realizing there might be other similarities between us is frightening. The day I posted here, my mom informed me that Rob wanted to talk, so I went to their house after work. When he arrived, my mom left us alone. Rob expressed his hurt over my behavior at the wedding. He acknowledged he's not my biological father, but felt some significance in my life. He was hurt to realize I didn't see him the way he thought. I was already in tears and couldn't speak much. After he finished, I confessed to everything in my original post. I messed up, was inconsiderate, and took him for granted. It's unforgivable. I'm sharing this conversation here because of something that happened during it. When Rob mentioned my college days, I started to give an excuse but stopped. He asked, and I admitted fault without excuses. He was initially angry but then smiled, appreciating my accountability. Taking responsibility is a struggle for me, a problem even in my previous job. Since then, I've been trying to improve, but with limited success. I showed him the post, and seeing it helped calm him down. He didn't read the comments, just what I showed him, as I shielded him from hurtful remarks about my mom. He thanked those who called me out for not taking responsibility. We discussed many things unrelated to the wedding. Towards the end, I expressed two things. I genuinely meant it in high school when I wished he was my dad, and I still feel that way, even with my biological father back in my life. Secondly, I understand it's hard for him to believe now, but I'm committed to proving it to him, no matter how long it takes. For those curious, I've been attending therapy sessions with my biological father every 2 weeks since his return. But I realize I need therapy for myself, and I'll work on arranging it soon. I'd like to express my gratitude to 3 specific individuals who offered invaluable support during a challenging time. Firstly, to the individual who wisely advised me to take a step back in my relationship with Rob, recognizing that I was becoming overwhelmed. Their direct message urging me to disengage from the situation was a crucial intervention. Secondly, to the commenter who reminded me of the importance of accountability within a loving and supportive family dynamic, emphasizing that mistakes, no matter how significant, need not mark the end of relationships if we are willing to acknowledge and learn from them. And finally, to the commenter whose candid assessment of my behavior served as a wake-up call. Their words, though stark, were fair and ultimately provided the necessary catalyst for self-reflection and growth. In retrospect, I realized that the original post essentially functioned as a letter of sorts, prompting me to confront uncomfortable truths about myself. It was a stark realization that the state of my relationships, particularly with Rob, was a reflection of my current character, and it was not a reflection I liked. Moreover, it helped me reinterpret Rob's own feedback in a more constructive light, understanding his intentions as supportive rather than accusatory. While Rob believes that time and my return to my former self will be sufficient for reconciliation, I am keenly aware that more is required of me. I carry the weight of my actions and their consequences, recognizing that mere acknowledgement is not enough. Moving forward, I am committed to undertaking the necessary work to better myself and to ensure that I never inflict such pain on my loved ones again. I am grateful to have my husband's unwavering support in this endeavor, knowing that he will hold me accountable and guide me along the path of growth and redemption. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.